Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Our today's topic is a poem Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by Rabindranath Tagore. Let me tell you something about the poet, that is Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, a gifted Indian poet and philosopher, was born in Bengal in 1861. He is the first Indian to have been honored with the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. Tagore tried to deepen the mutual understandings between the Indian and the Western cultures. Tagore wrote primarily in Bengali, but interestingly he himself translated many of his literary works in English. With the publication of Gitanjali, Tagore's fame spread worldwide. His writings are highly imagistic, deeply spiritual, and imbued with his love of nature and his homeland. Let me read the text of the poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let me country awake. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Dear students, let me tell you the theme of the poem. Students, since the poem has been written in the era when India was under the subjugation of British, the poet longs for freedom and wishes to see his homeland freed from the bondage of slavery she has been compelled to undergo. The poet wishes his countrymen to live with their heads held high and speak freely and enjoy the nature without fear. This poem is, in a sense, a kind of a prayer that rises from the deeper and inner feelings of the poet. Students, poet draws a picture of free India. In free India, people should be fearless and proud of their motherland. Education should be free to all. There should be no distinction between Indians belonging to different castes and religions. Citizens should be truthful. With self-effort, they should try to attain perfection. They should follow reason, not blind custom. They should follow reason, not blind custom. They should be guided by God. They should get rid of the old customs and conventions. They should march on the road of progress and prosperity. While the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, while the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Students, as already told in the theme of the poem, that at the time of the composition of this poem, India was under the colonial rule. The poet longs for the freedom of his homeland and wishes that his countrymen should live in sheer freedom of all kinds, physical as well as mental. The poet says that there should be a state of affairs in his homeland where nobody feels fear to express his thoughts, and that to seek knowledge is not limited but free. The poet also wishes that the world should be a unit and not broken into fragments of administration like countries and kingdoms. The world should be a single unit where men should move, express and seek knowledge freely. Express and seek knowledge freely. There should be no there should be no restrictions and impositions on thoughts and moments of the people. There should be no restrictions and impositions on thoughts and moments of the people. The poet urges that there should be no walls. There should be no walls and boundaries between the countries. Where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dry desert sand of dead habit. Students, in these lines, the poet sees the country of his dreams. In these lines, the poet sees the country of his dreams. He wants that in his dream country, India, everyone should speak the truth. Everyone should speak the truth, and no one should speak lie for his advantages. The poet wants his countrymen to keep on improving themselves till they attain perfection. The stream of reason seems to him, that is the poet, to have lost in the sands of habit. The stream of reasons, the stream of reason seems to him to have lost in the sands of habit. The poet also wishes that the reason should be an unsullied stream of water through which one can wade and progress without facing much obstacles. The poet urges his countrymen to do away with the superstitions and questions these disbeliefs through the application of logic. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let me country awake. Students, here in these lines, the poet seems to be speaking directly to God. In these lines, the poet seems to be speaking directly to God. He wants the God to lead his countrymen towards the state of affair, where their horizon of thought and action is broadened. Where their horizon of thought and action is broadened. The poet thinks that if the God leads his countrymen, they would transform India into a heaven where all the people would be free in the real sense. Thank you very much.